Genocide by Katrina Gaskell. What is genocide? Shortly after World War II, genocide was legally defined by the UN Genocide Convention, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly on December 9, 1948, and then entered into force on January 12, 1951. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a nation, ethnical, racial or religious group, such as killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group's conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, or forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Furthermore, genocide can also be linked with ideas of ethnical cleansing or just the excess of a dirty civil war. When looking at examples of genocide, Shaw states that Nazi genocide was a crime of sociology classification and a sociological crime which pseudoscience defines and classified people according to their race. However, Shaw also goes on to say that not all genocide is systematically pseudoscientific, but classifying populations and individuals in racial or other hostile terms is an essential component. Theories of genocide. When looking at the theories of genocide, it's important to note that a great deal of genocide theory proceeds from discussions relating to definitional matters. It has been argued that genocide may be a result of biological factors, which are things such as human instinctual aggression or even human brain structures. It is also argued that one theory of genocide is to support and help certain ideology. This can be seen through the connections between genocide and the racial theory intended to develop racial and national hatred, the dominance of the so-called higher races, and the extermination of the so-called lower races. It is also argued that the crime of genocide formed an integral part of the plan of world domination of supporters of racial ideological theory. Authoritarianism and cognitive theory. According to both classical and contemporary perspectives on authoritarianism, authoritarianism think differently from non-authoritarianism. Brown also states that it's not only what they think, but it's how they think. Brown also explores how authoritarianism seizes upon a quick conclusion and dismiss contradictory ideas. Browning also looks at how they tend to have low need for cognition, low cognitive complexity and high need for structure and closure. Rwanda genocide. Between April and June 1994, an estimated 800,000 Rwandans were killed in the space of 100 days. It is stated that what sparked the genocide in Rwanda was the death of their president when his plane was shot down on April 6, 1994. The attack was blamed on the leader of the Tutsi rebel group and some of his close associates who it is claimed carried out a rocket attack. However, he denies this and argued that it was the work of the Hutu extremists to provide them with an excuse to carry out their well-laid plans to exterminate the Tutsi community. It was also reported that organised gangs of the government soldiers and militants hacked their way through Tutsi populations with machetes or blew them up in churches where they had taken refuge. It was also reported that not only militant officials took part, also politicians, businessmen, and also many others joined in with the violence. Even once the genocide had come to an end, the trouble remained, and although the killing in Rwanda was over, the presence of the Hutu militants has led to years of conflict there, causing up to 5 million deaths. The 8 stages of genocide linking them to the Rwanda genocide. Number 1. Classification. This is the methods of dividing society. This was seen through the division of the Tutsis and the Hutus. Number 2, symbolisation, the use of names. This was seen through the use of code names for the Tutsis and the Hutsis. Number 3, dehumanisation. The Tutsis were referred to things such as cockroaches. Number 4, organisation, used by the state. This was seen through the Hutu militants and the organisation of weapons. Number 5, popularisation. The newspaper and the radio stations were repeatedly used to target the Tutsi population. Number 6, preparation. Between January 1993 and March 1994, it was reported that 581,000 machetes were imported into Rwanda. Number 8, extermination. This was seen through the 100 days of slaughter. And number 8, denial. This is seen through the lack of reporting. These are some of the human rights which are broken when genocide occurs. It is argued that it's hard to stop genocide and these human rights being broken as a result of the violence, as it has often happened very quickly and other countries find out after it's happened.